you all for coming on this beautiful spring day. I'm Amber, the Education Coordinator. As the Education Coordinator, I get the privilege of welcoming not just you folks for the Driftless Dialogue, but also schools with field trips as well. With those, I always start those groups by going over the rules for being at KZR, and one of those, the number one rule is to respect the land. With that, we always acknowledge our past and our future. And as part of the past, the message we always are sure to deliver is our land acknowledgement statement. So you can see that up on the wall. So we're going to read that now. The Kickapoo Reserve Management Board acknowledges that the state and federal lands that comprise the reserve fall within the ancestral homelands of First Nations people, including the Ho-Chunk Nation. We recognize the sovereignty of the Ho-Chunk and other First Nations and will work toward a shared future by continuing to create collaborative opportunities to protect and preserve these lands. So once we discuss that, we always talk about the future then with Leave No Trace as the message. So let me introduce our guest speaker who will absolutely cover Leave No Trace for us. So our Driftless Dialogue lecture series is supported by Friends of Kickapoo Valley Reserve and the Ralph E. Nuzum Kickapoo Reforestation Fund. Today, we welcome Christy Brown. Good morning. Leave No Trace Master Educator and Level 2 Instructor. She grew up on with a farming family and spent a lot of time outdoors. With that, she grew up understanding the need to pick up after herself. And when she was introduced to Leave No Trace organization later, she quickly embraced that lifestyle. She's here with us today to help us better understand how we can be better stewards of the land. So,
thank you. Good morning, everyone. So Leave No Trace, it's a great set of principles. They're not rules, they're principles, they're guidelines. They help us make good choices to protect the land, and not just in the backcountry. Everybody thinks, when I talk to people, when they hear Leave No Trace, they think backcountry, they think mountains, they think hiking. Leave No Trace is every day. It's in our homes, it's in our yards, it's in our cities, it's here at the KVR. It's a series of choices that we can make that protect the land and protect the users of the land and the ones that live here, all of the animals. Today we're going to do Leave No Trace on shared use trails, which is the great principle we have here at KVR of everybody's welcome. Places for horseback riding, places for hikers. I have llamas. I do a lot of packing with my llamas. You're going to meet a couple of my girls here in a little bit, and we're welcome here. And so I really appreciate that. Also people with dogs and things that way. So there's a lot more interaction here with folks and with other animals than you're going to get in the backcountry, but these Leave No Trace principles apply both ways, and some of them become even more important in our shared use environment. So back to our principles. There's 7 of them, and I'm not going to lie, I had a really hard time remembering them all. I could read them and it all made perfect sense, and then when I tried to tell somebody about them, I could get about 4 of them, and it was really embarrassing. You know, here I am trying to talk to you about Leave No Trace and I can't remember them all. But I did find a little cheat sheet, a little trick that helps me remember them, and I want to share that with everyone. So 7 principles of Leave No Trace. Principle 1, plan and prepare. And we'll break these down and go through all these different principles as we go, but plan and prepare. Principle 2, hike and camp on durable surfaces. Principle 3, pack it in, pack it out, or dispose of your trash properly. Trash and other things that we'll talk about in a little bit. Principle 4, leave what you find. Take only pictures, leave only footprints. Principle 5, be safe with fire. And we'll spend quite a bit of time outside on the fire part of this. Principle 6, one of my favorites, be respectful to wildlife. And that includes the other and on our shared use system, that's the other animals that we're going to meet on the trail. That's me and my llamas, that's somebody coming down the trail with their dog, and that includes the horses that we're going to meet on some of the KVR trails. So be respectful to the wildlife. Let's broaden that, say let's be respectful to all the animals, okay? And principle 7, be respectful to the other folks on the trail. Say hello, peace man, have a good day, enjoy the trail. Share something that you found and you left that you only took a picture of. Back to principle 4. These are simple little hand tricks that help me remember it, and kind of a nice little tool for everybody else. So So principle 1, plan and prepare. Okay, even if you're just going to go for a lunch hour hike, you still need to think about these things. We still need to plan and prepare because we don't know what will happen. One of the big things with planning and preparing is get a map. If you're here at the KVR, there are maps available at some of the trailheads, here in the visitor center. Take the map with you. I've hiked most of the trails on the reserve, but I still take a map because every once in a while you get to one and think, gosh, I haven't been here in a few years and I'm not sure which way to go. Grab your map, plan and prepare. A lot of folks, I'm kind of old, so I'm old school and use the maps. Everybody wants to use their phone and use their apps, okay? I have 6 apps on my phone that are trails, okay? Why do I have 6? Well, different areas, all the maps aren't all on one app. So you get into different areas and you need different apps for that. And so plan and prepare, I like to have everything there. 2 years ago, I took these 2 llamas that we're going to meet in a bit, and we went to Montana and hiked the Continental Divide Trail. We went through 3 national parks and a couple state wildernesses on the same trail, start to finish, and I needed 4 different apps to have the maps for those trails. Okay, so every little area has their own preference. One hint I will give you on this is don't count on signal. Download your app, and then download the maps so you have the physical map on your phone. That's a huge mistake people make. They think, well, I've got the app, I'll just pull it up when I need it, and there you sit with no signal, and you can't have a map, and you're stuck, you're lost, okay? So that's a really important one. You can sure use the apps, but download the maps so that you've got them when you don't have signal. A nice thing on these KVR maps too, and they'll see little icons on there out along the trails. There's some QR codes out there where it says you are here. You can take your phone, if you get signal, scan that, it brings up the map. So great opportunities. Not against these, but don't rely on this entirely. The other thing you can do when you're hiking is the GPS units, which function off the satellite. And so you're probably gonna have a good signal there most places. But again, I never depend on that solo. When I was in Montana, I was on a trail and had 3 or 4 trails intersect. So there we kind of stood with 4 options of which way to go and no signage. There you are. What do? Okay, pulled out the map, got a plan, pulled out the map that I had downloaded on my phone, compared that, and then I had a GPS unit, hit that, and agreed on which trail to take. 2 of the 3 agreed, 1 sent me somewhere else. I went with the odds and played the 2 and got where I needed to be. But had I not had planned and prepared and had backup options, I might still be out there, which maybe wouldn't be the worst thing. But so anyway, just that plan and prepare. You can't overdo on that one. I also like to have some, I've got a few little tools here. I've got some guidebooks. I'm not gonna lie, I am suck at navigation. It's a challenge for me. That's why I bought the good GPS unit to help me with that. These little tools really help. I think they're inexpensive. I think I bought all of these here at the KVR Visitor Center. They're just good little guides, little refreshers. You get a little frustrated and you can go back to this and say, okay, I remember I can use my compass, which I have here. I can use my compass. I'm good to go. So actually 4 navigational tools here that I use as I plan and prepare. Another part of plan and prepare is tell somebody where you're going. Now here at the trailheads, they've got the little sheets that you can fill out that your visitor number if you've got a trail pass, or leave your money there and tell them where you're heading. And that's not to keep track. It is to keep track of you, not to see where you're going. But if you don't come back and somebody calls and says, hey, Amber she was going to go hiking at the KVR today and she hasn't come home, then the guys here can go out, find her sheet, say, okay, she was going to take this trail, and know where Search and Rescue knows where to look for her. So odds of that happening are slim, but all you got to do is roll an ankle and there you sit until somebody can come and help you. The other nice thing on the GPS units, because they function off satellite, they're not relying on cell signal, is there's an SOS function where you can call for help. And some of them you can actually get, and I got this when I was in Montana, I got Search and Rescue insurance. so that had I needed a helicopter in and out, I wouldn't have had to fork that cash out by hand. So anyway, plan and prepare, really important. A few other things on planning and preparing is I always take my backpack along, even if it's just a short hike, because I want to have things with me. Hiking poles. I have bad knees. These things let me hike a lot farther and a lot less painfully. So I always have my hiking poles. Tuck them in the backpack. You need to plan for the weather. I always thought when I retired from my professional life I'd like to be a meteorologist, because you could say it might rain or it might not. It's partly sunny, partly cloudy. You got a little latitude there, but when we're out hiking, we need to really pay attention to that, and we need to be ready. So you can buy covers for your backpack if you want to. This is a poncho that goes over me and the backpack. So that goes there. And then I just use a heavy-duty garbage bag as a liner inside my backpack. So there's nothing worse than hiking all day in the rain and getting to your campsite and everything is wet. Your sleeping bag's wet, your clothes are wet, the clothes that you wore are wet, the clothes you are going to change into are wet. This little trick right here, dollar contractor bag, resolves a lot of that. Okay? I always bring a first aid kit. Ace bandages have so many uses, whether you roll an ankle, if you think you broke your arm, you need to put a splint on, you can use it to wrap the splint, you can make a sling out of it, a lot of options with this. I have a little mini tent, an emergency tent. They're solar reflected, so your body heat reflects back on you, and then I bring the little solar blankets. Okay, again, or excuse me, the little emergency blankets. They're that mylar shiny surface. Again, it reflects the heat back onto you. 4 or 5 ounces, not a big deal to carry. If I, twist my knee and I'm stuck until somebody finds me, at least I have shelter. Advil, hiker's friend. I have some asthma, so I always bring my inhaler. You can get these at Walmart or REI, any of these places, they're little oxygen boosts. So if you really got stressed, more for the mountains with altitude, but you just put this on your face, squeeze the little trigger here, and it gives you a shot of oxygen, just to help you with your breathing and help with your lungs. So again, easy to pack. Throw this stuff in here. When I'm loading my pack, I like to take what I'm going to need access to likely and have it on the outside so I don't dig for it. Things that I probably won't need right away get tucked inside. I always bring a little towel in case I need to wash my hands or something, another little blanket in case I get cold. I like to carry these little life straws or whatever your favorite kind of water filter is. I got my 32-ounce water bottle that I'm going to bring along, but same thing, if this runs out and I get hurt or I get lost, at least I can get water, okay? So it's got the, not promoting any given brand or anything, but it's got a filter in here. So you just take your dirty water, put it in here, drop the filter in, and then you can either, I like to squeeze it into another container, so I would squeeze it back in and refill this, or you can drink out of it. So a lot of options that way, but it's small, it doesn't weigh much, not a big deal to carry it around. It might be what saves you later. Okay. Tuck my water bottle in. Again, I always like to bring a little bit of paracord along. You never know when you might need some, to tie something on your pack, tie something back on the llamas. Again, just kind of a security thing. And then I have a little pocket field guide to the weather that tells you when you see a weird cloud formation. I can look in my little guide here and say, oh, nope, that's a storm coming. I need to either get back to the trailhead and get out of here or find a place to take shelter, okay? So again, quick, easy little tools. It doesn't take much, they don't weigh very much, but I've got everything I need to go out and enjoy the KVR for the day, okay? So that's planning and preparing. And again, if you have questions as we go ahead and ask them. Yes?
I'd like to know, how much does your pack weigh at this point?
Great question. How much does the pack weigh? With everything I've got in here, I got about 8 pounds. And that's with the water. So it's not a ton. It's bulky. It looks like it's going to be really heavy, but it's really not. With the llamas, it's kind of cheating because they carry the heavy stuff. So I don't have to. So I can take tents and sleeping bags and better equipment. I took an air mattress along because the llamas could carry it for me. So it's you're not ultralight backpacking, but this is more for my safety. If I trip and let go of the ropes and they take off and I'm stuck alone, I can survive. Okay, that's kind of the idea there. So the emergency side. Okay. So one thing that's really cool is Leave No Trace has these great little cards that you can get. And this one right here is my favorite, the Bigfoot one. It says Leave No Trace, Bigfoot's been doing it for years. This was actually how I was introduced to Leave No Trace right here at the KVR at the bathroom outside at the utility building. I come in off the trails, I really had to pee, I stood there, somebody was in the women's bathroom, so I'm standing there kind of waiting for them to come out, and I was reading the bulletin board, and this sign was on there. And I thought, oh, Bigfoot, cool, I love Bigfoot. That's awesome, and I didn't think much of it. I took a picture of it thinking I need that sign. Well, as I researched it and tried to find it, I discovered Leave No Trace and realized how close it was to my guiding principles and how much I wanted to share that. So anyway, but I'm going to pass these around if anybody wants to take a look. Every card is different, and every card has one of the principles on, or has all the principles on it. They target that for kids, for backcountry, for front country, for hunters, for geocaching. Geocaching, any of those kind of things, there's a card for it. And they're great tools to hand out with teaching Leave No Trace. When I do the certification courses, I get a deck of them for everybody so they've got all the principles. Principle 2, hike and camp on durable surfaces. I think we're going to talk about that one a little bit more when we get outside because I think that one's easier to demonstrate to you than it is to talk about. So, Principle 3, proper disposal of waste. This is a big one. There's nothing worse than getting out, hiking down the trails here at the KVR, beautiful day, enjoying everything, and there's a candy wrapper. Or there's toilet paper, and I don't want to look what's around that. I don't want to know. Also, maybe there's a tissue. It's like, who wants to have a used tissue there, okay? So please pick up your trash. And I try to pick up everybody else's trash too, because I don't want to see it there. I don't want somebody whose first time is the KVR to come out here and hike the trails and go, wow, there was garbage everywhere. I don't want that. This place is a wonderful place. I want people to enjoy it while they're here. So I'll take that extra step and pick up other people's stuff. So I also carry gloves with me. They don't weigh anything. They're easy to have on here, so I've got them along. And if I find tissues or whatever, I can throw the glove on, pick stuff up, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and take the trash out. And that's one really nice thing with the llamas is, again, I don't have to carry it. I just toss it in the panniers and the llamas carry everything. So, speaking of things, of toilet paper and those kinds of things, sometimes when you're out on the trail, you're not going to make it back to the bathroom. And so we do need to go out and use the bathroom on the trails. You've got a few options. You don't want to just leave your toilet paper and your poop, let's just say it, leave your poop right there on the trail. That's a terrible thing. Leave No Trace, we recommend you get 200 feet off the trail. If you can safely get 200 feet off the trail and someplace private. I don't want to see somebody out there popping a squat. So if I get out there, if I can't see the trail, hopefully they can't see me. You can, in some areas, land management is always the trumper. I need to check with your land management and see what they prefer for options. If you're in an area, some places in the backcountry, you can dig a cat hole and bury your poop. Other places you can't. Again, check with your land management. But I just carry a couple little trowels. So you can dig a hole about 6 inches deep. Somebody actually got funding to study how long it takes for poop to decompose at different depths. and 6 inches was the prime. 6 to 8 inches was the best. So anyway, there we go. That's research. Grad students, there we have it. So you can just dig a cat hole, do your business, scoot it in there, cover the hole, throw some grass, some leaves around it. So again, leave no trace. Nobody should walk by and go, oh, what's that little mound right there? Nobody should know that it's there. If you get somewhere, and again, a lot of places out west, about half and half, they don't want you to dig cat holes and bury things, then you're kind of stuck, but you have some options. Oh, where did I throw it? There we go. Nice little carry-along bathrooms, basically. This is a cheap Amazon knockoff that was a white elephant gift that everybody thought was really funny, and I thought it was an amazing gift. So elk crap bags, or these are the bivy bags that they have here at the KVR. So there's a gel or a powder in here that takes anything with any moisture in it and makes it into a gel, kind of solidifies things. So you can either position this or squat on it. You can, these are always embarrassing, but we'll demonstrate. You can do this, put it on you, and do your business. Comes with toilet paper. Elk crap bags comes with hand wipes. However you use it, when you're done, drop your toilet paper in. The gel gets all done up, squeeze all the air out. You can multi-use these if you're inclined. I'm going to let everybody make that decision themselves. But when you're done, stick it in the bag. It's a Ziploc. Roll it up. Tuck it in your backpack. And when you get back to the trailhead, drop it in the garbage. Okay? Easy, quick, inexpensive. These are under $5 a bag. Very inexpensive, very good way to leave no trace and spare our land. Okay? Principle 4, leave what you find, take only pictures. This is a big one. I think, we get excited, especially when you're here with kids. Curiosity, you see strange things and everybody wants to run and grab it and pick it up and take it home and say, look what I got. I found this when I was at KVR the other day. And what I always tell kids is, if you take that, then somebody else doesn't get to enjoy it. So it's really important that we just take a picture, pick it up, take a picture with it, put it back, let somebody else enjoy it. We really, especially here, we talked about the native lands and things that way. You might find an arrowhead when you're out here. Get your pictures. Please do that. It's awesome. But then put it back, bury it, and then mark it. Come back to the visitor center and tell them where it's at, because then there's additional steps that they will do to secure that. But really important that we don't just pick these things up and take them. There are sometimes exceptions, and again, that's land management rules. Foraging. I love to forage. I love to get ramps and morels in the spring. I forage mushrooms all summer and into the fall. I love to do that. Some places, some parks, some public lands will let you forage, others don't. So check with land management. Here at the KVR, you can harvest mushrooms for your own use. So you can't come in and carry out 50 pounds and sell them at the farmer's market. But if you want to get enough for a couple batches for your family, you can certainly do that. The other thing that we ask, or that's good, leave no trace principle, or just being a good person, is don't take it all. Leave a few for the next person. Whether they are going to harvest it or not, at least they can say, hey, that's a morel mushroom, that's really cool. So we need to be really conscious of that. Same thing with picking up antler sheds. Some places will let you pick up sheds, other places don't. Most places, even if you find a skull with antlers attached, you cannot pick that up. Again, leave it there, let other people see it, take the pictures. Wildflowers, that's a huge one. Kids especially, it's like you're out here in a couple of weeks, this place will be beautiful with wildflowers. All our spring ephemerals will be out, it'll be lovely. And kids want to go and make bouquets and give them to their teachers or take them home to mom and dad or whatever. And when you do that, again, you're taking them away from the next person. That's seeds that don't get to mature and bring on the next generation of plants next year. That's all the pollinators, the butterflies, the bees, all the insects that don't, the hummingbirds, they lose that opportunity to pollinate those plants when we take those. So really important that we leave them. Sit down, get a great picture, nestled in the wildflowers, awesome. But don't go in there and pick a whole bunch of them and leave a big bare spot along the trails. Really, really important that we remember that one. With digital photography now, it's just become so easy to take only pictures and leave things there for the next person to see them. Really important. Principle 5, fire safety. This one we're going to talk about when we get outside. We got a couple nice little fire stations. We'll spend a little time with that. Principle 6, we're going to do that one in Principle 7 outside. One more thing while we're in here, this kind of falls into plan and prepare. It falls into your pack it in, pack it out. It falls into respecting wildlife and respecting other people, is managing our food. Even if I'm just out for a little bit, I'm going to take some, I always have some snacks with me, okay? And I have them sealed in a bag so that it's waterproof, and the big reason is scent proofing. Bears are really scent oriented. Grizzly bears, they say, can smell a peanut butter cup 2 miles away, okay? That's scary. So we really want to be as safe as we can with not telling everybody, hey, I got food, come and see me. So I just like to throw it in a Ziploc bag. So let me roll this up. Of course, in Wisconsin, we don't have grizzly bears, but we do have black bears, and we have raccoons, and we have possums, and all the little creatures that will want to be out there, that we're in there, we're hiking in their yard. And so when we walk through and they can smell goodies and treats, they're going to come and check us out. And that makes it a danger to them. Animals get acclimated to people. They start associating people with food or campsites with food, and then the animals have to be removed one way or another. And so by not following leave no trace principles or making choices that don't protect these animals, we're endangering these animals. And so same thing, I can use this bag, I can throw my garbage right back in it, because it's my garbage, I know what it is. I don't throw other people's garbage in my food bag. but this is a handy way for here on front country or day pack hiking. If you're going to be camping overnight, or especially if you're out west in grizzly country, there are a lot more rules that we need to follow. And so we'll just go through a couple of these real quick. We have a couple of options. This is a Kevlar bag called an Ursa bag. It's made so that the bears and don't forget the raccoons, the possums, whatever other creatures there are going to, if they smell your food, they're going to try and dig through it. This is Kevlar. They're not going to get into that. So you can drop your food in there, seal it up, tie it off, hang it from a tree. If we're going to do a tree hang, we want to be about 10 feet in the air, 6 to 10 feet out away from the base of the tree, the trunk of the tree. So find a limb that hangs way out, and we want to be about 4 feet down from that limb. So we're going to find a limb that's 10 feet high. And how are we going to get this up here? Again, easy, plan and prepare, lightweight. I just have a little rigging system. I got a little weight on this. I can take this, throw it up over the weight on the tie brings it down, clip it on here, pull it up at the tree, tie it off, and then my food is safe. Just put this away real quick. The other option that works good when the llamas are carrying, I don't like to carry this big thing around. This is a bear vault, okay? They're really heavy-duty plastic. With the round shape, it's hard for a bear or any other animal to get their mouth on it. And this lid is a pain in the butt to get off, okay? You can't twist it. You have to find the right spot, squeeze. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay, I'll do it how I usually do it. There. Oops, one more. See, no bear's going to do that. I can hardly do that. Take it off, drop your food, everything right down into here, okay? And then when you put that lid back on, make sure it clicks. And so now it's going to be safe again. And This you're not going to hang in a tree. This you're going to find a place 200 yards away from, or 200 feet away from your campsite to store your food. Tuck it in under a deadfall, tuck it in behind some logs. If a bear does sniff it out, again, nothing is 100%. All they're going to do is chase it and roll it around and probably get bored with it, and your food will still be there. Mice and chipmunks and raccoons probably ruin more camp food than bears ever do. Everybody worries about bears. Nobody thinks about the other creatures. That's why I really like these kind of bags to store my food in. So, okay, I think we're ready to head outside unless anybody has any questions. Yes?
When you take your llamas, you need a special permit.
Great question. To take the llamas, that kind of goes back to our plan and prepare. Check with local land management. Now in the state of Wisconsin, if you can, I can't take the llamas on state parks where horses are allowed. Okay, that's a state, it's in the statutes that we can't do that. But with the KBR here, I came and I talked to them with the management. We're Department of Tourism here. Talked to them about the llamas, brought them, did a little demo, and they were glad to have us. We've actually helped some of the trail crews with the flooding a few years ago. We hauled gravel into different places. We hauled some slabs in. We hauled chainsaws in different times. So they're very welcoming to have us here. Again, when I went out west, same thing. I just went to the ranger's office, said, "Hi, I'm Christy from Wisconsin with llamas," and they looked at me like, "Oh boy, this is going to be a good one." And told them what I was doing, and then they were just glad that I checked in, but I didn't need anything special where I was at. In Colorado, you do have to get special permits. So land management always trumps everything. That's when you plan and prepare, that's the place to start. Check in with them and find out what their rules are. Okay? All right, I'm just going to throw a few things in my backpack and we'll head outside. Principle 5, fire safety. This is a really big one and really important, and I'm going to admit it's one that I used to be a little bit slack on before I learned to leave no trace principles. The biggest thing with fires is you want to only have a fire in an established area. So this, you can see they've laid this out. There's rocks there kind of designating where the fire should be. We don't want to just pick a random spot and say, even if we have dispersed camping, I'm going to just camp here and start a fire because one, it might get away, and two, the next people come through and start fires there. And it's just a safety thing and an aesthetic thing. We need to be safe in where our fires are. So trust your land management. Put the fire pits where it's supposed to be. So there's a lot of different ways to set up fires. We could do a whole day just on campfires, what to use for kindling, how to lay them out, how to use them. That's the easy part. The most important part of Principle 5, fire safety, is extinguishing them. So when you're at the end of the night, and I'm not gonna lie, everything's burned down, there's just a few bed of coals, everybody crawls in their tents and go to sleep, and I never used to worry about that because there weren't any flames left. That's how a high percentage of our forest fires that have decimated large areas of the West, and even a couple years ago we had a big fire off of Fort McCoy, started from campfires, either getting away from people or people not extinguishing them. A bed of coals is just as dangerous as a flame, okay? So we're really critical when you're done with your fire, whether you're cooking or warming or just recreating, we need to extinguish that. So let it burn down to coals, douse it with water. Wait 3-4 minutes, stir it. You'll be amazed. You'll throw that water on there, there's smoke, there's steam, it looks quiet. When you stir that up, you got red coals underneath. Sometimes you'll get flame back because you've moved that, you've let oxygen into that area and everything takes off. Douse it again. Give it 3-4 minutes, stir it. Keep doing that until you don't get any more red coals or any flame coming back. Really critical. And again, most wildfires have started because of human error. A few are from lightning strikes. Fireworks and unextinguished campfires make the highest percentage of wildfires that can devastate large acreages, homes, and people can be injured or killed in these big fires. And so take Principle 5, extinguishing your fire properly, extremely important. I had a couple helpers that are going to help us with this last little part of a few things here today on our principles. So let me grab these girls out of the trailer and get them rigged up, and then we'll continue on. So I raise and train llamas for packing. do a lot of hiking here at the KVR with them. I took these two girls here, went out west with me. Big recreational thing out west for hunters and hikers is to use llamas. So let me introduce my girls. This is Lucy. Come on, Lou. Come on, Lou. And this is Talladega. So two of my finest girls, excellent packers. They really enjoy getting out and doing the hiking. They carry all the heavy stuff, so I can just take my hiking sticks and take off and roll. So let me get them loaded up, and then we'll move on. Come on, babe. So Talladega this one here is 9 years old. She's born and raised and bred on my farm. She's got babies that are hiking with me now. She's my pride and joy, one of the finest things I've ever raised. Lucy here, Lucy, call her Lucy for short. I got Lucy from a good friend out in Wyoming. She'd been a pack llama in an elk hunting camp. She takes life a little too serious, so she came to live with me, and Lucy and I get along just fine. So the pinned ears are just kind of Lucy's way of going, so we don't worry about that. But let me load these girls up. One really nice thing about if you're camping with llamas, hiking with llamas, again, they can carry all the weight. So if you want to come down here to the KVR and go out for a week or something like that, you can, if you had llamas or if you hire me to take you out there, you can take coolers. They'll fit right on the llamas. So you could fill this with all your food, and then we can put it on the llamas. Big thing if you're using pack stock, whether it's llamas or pack mules, pack horses, is you want to make sure your weight is correct, that you got the same weight on both sides so that they're carrying things evenly. You think about that yourself. If you're carrying a 5-gallon bucket in one hand, you walk like this. If you have 2 5-gallon buckets, you're more even and you can walk straight. So anyway, so when we're doing the llamas, we want to make sure that we've got our packs, everything's loaded. We weigh these. Try to get them within a pound of each other on both sides. So let me get Lucy loaded up here first. Come here, Lou. So I was hiking along on the Continental Divide in western Montana, Beaverton Wilderness. And these two, I don't know, we're probably our 4th or 5th day out. Had them tied together. I had Talladega tied right here on the saddle, and we can do that when we get going here. We're hiking along, beautiful day, everything's good, and all of a sudden the llamas threw the brakes on, and they would not go. And they were both looking this direction. I couldn't figure out you don't like being so close to each other, do you? Come on. Couldn't figure out what was going on. And as I'm looking, trying to see what they're seeing, Lucy walked up on one side of me, Talladega walked up on the other side, and they crowded into me. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I looked, and there's a grizzly bear coming right down the hill at us. And so I pulled my bear spray, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And I yelled, "Hey, bear!" And it stopped, went up on its hind feet, looked at us, went down, turned around, took 2 steps, came back up, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And the llamas squeezed in a little bit, and Lucy clucked. She just made this little sound. That bear got bigger, looked, came down, and went away from us. So had I not had these girls being so observant and being so protective of me, I might not be here. Oh, Lucy, stop it. So anyway, that's one really nice thing. I do a lot of hiking by myself, but I really don't feel like I'm alone when I take the llamas with me. Lucy takes life a little serious. She wants to be on the go, and standing at the trailer is just not in her wheelhouse. So we'll get loaded up here and get going. So I had pre-weighed these. I know they're about the same. One panniard has actually I have a first aid kit for the llamas. It goes out every trip, whether we're down here for demonstrations or in Montana for 10 days. I also have an extra gear kit with extra cinches, extra lead ropes, extra halters. Again, plan and prepare. Have everything that you might need. The best part of plan and prepare is to come home with a bunch of stuff that you didn't need. That's much better than getting out there and not having something in an emergency. So let me load Daga up here. Here, babe. Yes. One nice thing about llamas is they browse. And so I don't have to carry hay or pellets or anything for them. Now, when we were out for 10 days, I did take a little bit of grain, but they eat about 2% of their body weight a day. So at 300 pounds, they're going to consume 6 pounds in a day. And they get that just grazing. So we call this a pack string when we tie multiple llamas together. Here, Louie. Louie, stand. string. Yep. I'm very comfortable with 4. I have friends out west that are outfitters that do 8. Per person, yep. But I'm very comfortable with 4.
So if we're going for 2 nights, how many llamas would be?
2 llamas would be plenty, yep. So if, generally you figure a llama, a person, and 1 for food. So if I'm out for 2 nights, this would be, I could go for a week with these 2. So, okay. So let me just warm them up a little bit here, and then we'll have a little conversation. Oh. So we like to give them, we're talking about Principle 6, respecting animals, wildlife specifically, but with shared use trails and pack animals, respecting animals in general. You want to give them space. We got a bunch of kids over there, and I'm just waiting for them to come running at us to want to pet the llamas. They're not going to like that, okay? So if you meet animals on the trail, don't just approach. You always want to talk to the people that are out there with them and say, oh my gosh, look at that, there's llamas on the trail. Come on, girls. Like I say, they're movers and shakers. They don't like this standing around business. So you don't want to just run up and start petting them. You ask if you can pet them. If I have a single llama, I'll probably let people pet them. When I have them tied together, that's a big no for me. It's a safety thing. They like their personal space. And I can't keep track of with people there when they're on, when they're all around them. Another big thing when we're on shared use trails, again, Principle 6, is dogs, okay? Most parks, and the rule here at the KVR is that all dogs need to be on a leash. And as a dog owner, people think, well, it's 8,000 acres, I can let my dog run, it's an awesome thing. It is until you come down the trail and you come up, their dog comes running towards me and these 2 girls. These 2 girls protected me from a grizzly bear. They're not going to think twice about stomping on your dog to protect me, okay? It startles them. It's dangerous for me. It's dangerous for your pet. So please follow the keep your pet on a leash rule, okay? Very important. If you really think you need to let your dog loose, find an area, go off trail. Hopefully, your dog must be very well trained to commands, but don't let them loose on the trail. Find a little meadow area, let them run there away from things. Same thing with horses. If you come out, your dog comes running up on a bunch of horses, the llama's gonna stomp on your dog. Horses are probably gonna spook and somebody might fall off and get hurt really bad. So be respectful of the animals, be respectful, Principle 7, of the other people on the trail. Keep your dog on a leash, okay? Now with the llamas, come on girls. One thing that, and again, I so appreciate the opportunity to come to KVR with my llamas, but horses that haven't seen llamas before tend to spook. So being respectful of other people on the trail, I try to stick on just hiking trails where horses aren't supposed to be. Then if we run into a horse, it's on them for not being there. I don't like to go on these popular horseback riding trails with the llamas. They're beautiful trails. There's no reason we can't be there, but I try to be respectful. 7, respectful of others on the trails and stay off of that because I don't want to see somebody get hurt. Now, in the event that we would run into somebody with horses, and this is whether it's me with the llamas, mountain bikers out on the trail, or Amber hiking with her dog, Rose hiking with her kids or grandkids, if you see horses coming, you really want to make sure that they know you're there. So you're going to go, hey, how's it going? Let us step off the trail, okay? Sometimes people see us coming and they get off the trail, but they don't say anything. So if I don't happen to see it first, there's a chance that it spooks us. So make sure people see you, that you know they're there. If I have a big group of llamas, I'll actually send somebody out ahead if we're in an area that might be shared use for a little bit, or if I know that there might be some horses in an area, I'll send somebody out ahead and see if they see horses, say, hey, guess what? My friend's coming with a bunch of llamas. We just want to let you know. Then they run back and tell me, and then, we take all the precautions. So horses trump everything on the trail. Everybody gets out of the way of horses, okay? If we had met some horses on the trail, I'm going to make my best effort to go downhill from them as safely as I can, so that if the horse would happen to spook, they're going to spook and go uphill, not go downhill where the horse might tumble and fall and end up at the bottom of a ravine. I have control over my girls. They're really sure-footed. We're going to head downhill. We're going to try and get 50 feet off the trail if we can, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to go, hey, I'm right here. Let me move the llamas out of your way. Give me just a minute. Just stop right there. I'll get the llamas in position. I'll turn the llamas so they can see the horses go by. They don't care. But then the horses can see them, and then the people can work their way across. There are some trails where we do mix and mingle a little bit with horses, but we try to be as respectful as we can. We appreciate being here, and we want to be safe and keep everybody around us safe too. So that is it. That is a really big one. Bikers, the hierarchy on who has the priorities. Everybody yields to horses. They have the premium on the trails. Get out of their way. Bikers actually are supposed to yield to hikers. That doesn't always happen. We probably have more between straight out loose dogs and bikers coming screaming up behind us and trying to go around us on the trail. Those are probably the two problems that we have mostly down here. We have very little issue with horses. Part of that's our efforts to not be in those areas and our efforts to yield. So, and if you get out and you're on the trail and you're not sure what you're supposed to do, it's like, oh my gosh, do I stop? Do I have priority? I always tell everybody, if in doubt, yield. It's much easier to get out of the way than it is to argue about it and try and figure it out. So, okay, let's go on the trails here a little bit and talk about a few things. Come on, ladybugs. So principle 2, hike and camp on durable surfaces. Right in here we got a nice little trail that's a durable surface. It's graveled, it's safe, we're not going to tear it up much. I can control where I am. Hopefully my girls stay on the trail too. So that's really important. When you get into areas like this, we want to stay out of it as much as we can, this grasses and things like that. I don't know what's in there. There might be some endangered spring ephemerals trying to grow. So stay on the trails. That's really important. If you were going to camp, you wouldn't want to camp here. Some people would say, oh my gosh, look at all of this. That'd be nice padding. I'd actually be a little bit up off the ground. You don't know what's underneath there. We don't want to damage things as we're going through. We want to leave no trace. So stay on the trails as much as we can. One dilemma that we have is we're going down a nice trail like this, a nice durable surface, and there's a mud puddle. What do we do at the mud puddle? Do we walk through it or do we walk around it? Leave no trace principles tell us that we walk right through it. Now I will. Sometimes the girls don't, but I do. And the reason for that is that I get a little mud on my shoes and it dries and life is good. If I go around it, come on girls, if I go around that mud puddle, I'm making a new path. And then the next person comes and they're like, oh, there's a path around that mud puddle. Suddenly there's this big wide spot in the trail when it dries up, and we've trampled vegetation and we've changed the trail system. So really critical, just walk through the mud puddle. And if you're out on the trails and it's muddy where you're traveling, you shouldn't be out there anyway. You know, emergencies are one thing, but if you're out recreationally and if you're leaving tracks going down the trail, you shouldn't be there. Go home, come back on another day where you're not damaging the surfaces. Sometimes we do go off trail. If we're going to camp, we want to be 200 feet off the trail. You know, this is a nice little level area. This looks really nice. I could set the tent up here pretty easy. But then one, everybody's walking right by me. Two, I'm interfering with everybody else's journey through here. They're having to look at my tent and my camp and having to talk to me when they go by, and maybe they're out here to avoid that. So you want to get 200 feet off. So if I was going to go down here, I might travel through here a little bit to get down here and set up my tent. Now the llamas are following me pretty close. Come on, babe. I could set up a camp down here. I could set up a bathroom over there. I could tie my llamas off. I'm off the trail. Everything's good that way. That's one of the few times we're going to go off trail is to do that. Come on. If you're out here hiking with your family and you've got a big group and you decide to do that, and we're going off trail through an untraveled area, it's really critical that you spread out. If you all walk that same trail follow the same path through the high grass, you just made a new trail. The next camper comes along and follows that. So if you spread out, we actually do less damage to the vegetation that way than if you follow each other when you go off trail. So really important. Okay, any questions? How about we just hike a little bit?
I have a question about
Yeah.
The llamas with, hold on, with ticks or bugs or any insects out there.
Right, yeah, great question. Yeah, with the llamas, I always, before we leave home, I spray them with a tick spray and a fly spray in the summers. If you can use it on people or on kids, it's safe on these guys. Just as we do tick checks on ourselves when we get home, when I get them home and I get them unsaddled and I'm brushing them out good, I'm looking for ticks on their legs and on their faces. One advantage they have with all this fleece, I'm not sure a tick could find its way in there, but I do occasionally find them on the faces and on the ears. What's up, babe? And maybe around the tail. But again, plan and prepare. And I try to do all that at home before we leave. But great question. Yep. It's a consideration for sure. Yep. Okay. I think we'll just go for a little walk. If you're out hiking, you might run into some wildlife here at the KVR. There's deer, there's bobcats, there's all the small creatures, the raccoons, the possums. There are bear, you probably will never see them. There's been Bigfoot sightings at the reserve, you know, who knows? I'm in favor of that one. But when we're out, if we run into animals, give them space. Do not approach them. Use your camera, take the pictures. You're in their yard when you're out here hiking. So it's really important. We got the little chipmunk that's around camp. It's tempting. People want to go ahead and feed them, throw their potato chips or their Cheetos over there. Don't do that. The animals get acclimated to people. They start hanging around the camps. Where there's little critters, then the big critters decide to come. So if they're always there, then you're going to get the predators that want to hang out around the campsites because there's always going to be steady prey there. So we've changed these animals' environment by conditioning them to people and associating people with food. So just ignore them. Say, oh my gosh, is that cool? We're in their yard. Good to see you there, Mr. Raccoon, and keep moving. Don't go out there, don't approach them, don't try and do the selfie thing. Give them space, and remember you're in their yard, they're not in yours. So really important. If you have an encounter with an animal that seems to be aggressive or tries to approach you or wants to follow you, get on the phone, get a hold of the visitor services here so that they can go in and investigate that. Most animals are going to hear you coming or see you coming and take off, and your really encounters are very minimal. When it's just me and the llamas, we're pretty quiet, and so sometimes we'll see deer and different creatures. But in general, you're probably not going to see anything. But when you do, give them space. Okay. All right, we're going to hike a little bit farther here. So again, leave no trace. Make lifestyle choices to leave everything better than you found it. Nobody should know you were there. Get out, enjoy. Be respectful of the animals out on the wilderness or out in our trail system. Be respectful of the people, but mostly importantly is get out and enjoy. Thanks a lot for coming out today. We'll see you next time on the trail.